What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer, guys. Back it again. We're playing some more Prey. Today, going to do kind of a shorter video. And I've got about 18 hours in Prey right now. And I wanted to talk through some of the tips that I found that have been really able to help me survive in this game, to be honest. So I'm going to talk through. It's going to be a lot to talk about kind of the way I've upgraded. And additionally, some of the things I definitely didn't know going into the game. I'm not sure exactly how far I am, but like I said, I've got about 18 hours in. I feel like I'm pretty far, and I definitely feel like I've come across a lot of the situations that if you're just starting the game out, or you've got a couple hours in and you're still working through, hopefully some of the things I'm about to talk about will assist you later on in the game. And definitely if you're playing on the higher level difficulties, I think some of these things can really be key to success. As always, if you're new to the channel, please make sure hit that subscribe button for us, hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to join the Xbox Average Gamer Guys Club. Also follow us on Twitter. All that stuff's in the description below, but we'll jump right into it. So the first biggest thing, there's a lot of RPG elements in this game. If you're thinking about picking it up for a survival horror game, this is absolutely awesome. I've really enjoyed the combat, really enjoyed the story. For those of you that played BioShock, it reminds me a lot of that, as well as kind of a mix of like Dead Space. So that's probably the two biggest things that I would compare it to, and I've really enjoyed it. But jumping into it, there's a lot of RPG elements and a lot of capability to upgrade things. You can upgrade weapons, you can upgrade your suit, you get different things. This is going to be the big thing that we talk about here, using your neuromods and upgrading yourself with new abilities and new capabilities. Now for me, the way I like to play my play style, I do use sneak relatively enough that I think it's worth it. But for me, I like to go into an area, I like to unlock the doors, I like to check everything out. There are a ton of hidden secrets in this game, hidden areas where you got to be, use some creativity, use your glue gun to get to, move objects around to find hidden doors. And with that understanding, that's kind of how I'm going to take you forward, at least for the first little bit, talking about tips for survival. So for me, the first few things that I personally am going to upgrade, especially when I play again, and I prioritized it this time, luckily for me, the first biggest thing is probably hacking. I think hacking 3, if you can get up to that, that's going to unlock just about all of the doors, all of the key codes, all of the different terminals, and allow you to do a ton in the game. There's a lot of doors that you'll come across that you don't have the right key code for. You'll come up to a lot of terminals, a lot of machines where you don't have the correct password, and you'll find it, pretty far later on. But sometimes being able to get into that safe in those different areas, that's really what's going to give you the tools. It's going to give you the extra ammo. It's going to give you the extra neuromods. It's going to give you the extra fabrication plan to really fight better in the scenarios moving forward. So for me, hacking 3 I think is the key. Hacking 4 you do start to see a little bit later on in the game, but I think you can wait on that. Definitely prioritize hacking when you're looking, especially early in the game. I think hacking 1 and 2 would probably honestly be the first two things that I would upgrade as soon as I found the neuromods, because again, especially in the beginning areas, hacking 2 and really hacking 3 are going to open just about everything for you, so super helpful there. Physician is good, having the extra medkits. Medkits are, I would say, they're relatively easy to find in the beginning. They become a little bit harder, but you come to find that there are operators that can heal you, so you start to find their stations a little bit later. But having the increase to medkit efficiency is nice. But the big thing for me was to get necropsy. Now this allows you to pick up the additional exotic material from the Typhons. Now the reason I like this is because, one, it's a pretty quick, if my memory serves me, I think Physician 1 was like 1 neuromod, and I think this was like 2. So you can get this skill tree pretty early, but this is something that if you pick this up super early in the game, it's going to benefit you hugely later on, especially for me. Like I said, I pick up everything. I hoard the stuff, especially recyclable material is really good because you can do a lot with the fabricator. You can build a lot of stuff later on. And exotic material can actually be somewhat hard to come by unless you have this skill. If you pick this up, like I said, you're going to be picking up extra organs and stuff from each enemy you kill, which you can then turn into exotic material. And right now I think I'm sitting at a ton of it just because I picked this up so early. So big recommendation for that. Additionally, this is something I think you can grab a little bit later on. Psionic powers, you're going to start to get them. I got them a couple hours in, I would say. Having the increased pool is pretty good. You can get combat focus, which is a nice ability. But the big thing for me is once you find your psychoscope, having the ability to install 2 additional chipsets is actually really nice. I don't think this is mandatory, but it definitely helps kind of round your character out and give you some small additional abilities. Actually, the biggest thing is probably granting some weak or some defense to certain things, so you're not quite as weak to certain types of attacks. So big recommendation there. But I think you can wait for those later on. Now in the engineer skill tree, another big skill tree that I'm trying to work through. I think leverage 1 and 2 are important, although not nearly as important as hacking. But there is some stuff that you can leverage and move out of your way to get to some secret areas. I found that a lot of times if you don't have the leverage skill, you can just use your recycler charges, and that will most of the time allow you to just recycle whatever you couldn't move to get there. So I think that is a workaround, but this is a good skill to have. Maybe, like I said, getting to about leverage 2, I think you can do just about everything you need to do. Repair does help. I think getting to maybe repair 2 is beneficial. You can see at this point I'm already up to repair 3 because it does allow you to fortify your turrets. You don't use as many spare parts, which is nice. But personally, I found a ton of spare parts. You're going to find a lot of the same weapons which you can dismantle to spare parts. So getting to repair 2 will just help you kind of repair some things. But there's not a lot of instances that I found where you need to repair something to get by. So maybe just getting repair 2 would be my recommendation. Obviously, gunsmith ability, capability to upgrade your weapons. For me, with my playstyle, again, since I'm finding a lot of the secret areas, I do find a ton of weapon kits. So having the capability to continue to upgrade weapons, which you find quite a big diversity of, is beneficial. I think the next thing for me moving through my skill tree is going to be Gunsmith 2, just so I can fully upgrade those weapons. But Gunsmith 1, definitely recommend it, work through it, and it's nice because you got to get to repair anyways, so it's kind of a natural progression there. Suit Modification is another one, huge recommendation, mostly again just because of my playstyle. But the ability to install additional chipsets, again, grant you some resistances to certain things, as well as just opening your inventory up. There are a lot of times, especially at the beginning of the game, and even kind of midway through, even once I got level 1 and 2 of this, where I was just coming through areas not finding a recycler very quickly, and having to really kind of prioritize what to keep, because like I said, I picked up everything. And if you're like me, I definitely recommend getting your suit modifications, pick those up early, and get it to level 2 if you can get it to level 3. I don't remember these being too expensive, except for I think suit modification 3 was. But again, you're going to find inventory space, the capability to manage your inventory is important, and just having the extra slots for that is good. And then the chipsets, like I said, they are awesome. They grant some really good additional abilities. Dismantle, obviously, this is a good early perk to pick up too, just because it lets you break down those extra weapons that you have into those spare parts, which then for me, I ended up just a lot of times taking and splitting my spare parts and putting about half of them into the recycler just to get that material. So it's kind of an additional way to recycle things, and like I said, you're going to find a ton of the same weapon. You don't need them. You can just keep the one that you're upgrading, so good quick ability to grab. And then Materials Expert just made sense for me, to be honest. You get an additional yield, which the Fabricator becomes hugely important, and I'll run to it here in just a minute and show you kind of what you can eventually build out of it, which actually really surprised me I didn't think I was going to be able to fabricate certain things, which I was able to do. So having increased yield is good. And then additionally, moving forward, the lab tech ability, capability to upgrade your non-standard weapons. So anything outside essentially your pistol, your shotgun, is going to need this ability to upgrade further. So like I said, probably another thing very quickly to get. I never found combat. I think if you use your glue gun efficiently, if you use your pistol and your wrench efficiently, I never really found the need to reduce stamina or get increased damage. Now eventually I think I will go here. I am working through just getting human abilities this time, so I can put a few more points into this. Definitely if you're going to go for a more rounded out approach, you'll definitely be able to pick up some of the Typhon powers. However, the reason I want to focus specifically on human powers is because human powers, you have them from the start and you'll keep them all the way through, and they're some of the more specific things that you need to upgrade, I think, to really unlock a lot of the stuff in the game. But if you are going to focus on wrench combat, the first two of these probably aren't bad, but especially early in the game, I really don't think you need it too much. Going in a security tree, as you can see, combat for me, I'm good enough as it is with the weapon selection that I have. The capability to upgrade your weapons, I think, helps. So I haven't picked up firearms or anything like that. I did do conditioning just to give myself a little bit extra health and some stamina. Toughness 1, I was finding myself, once you start to come up to the tougher enemies, I do think this is important, and these will probably be some of the other things that I pick up in the very near future. And then besides that, like I said, just having the combat focus, the ability to use it, it just helps. It helps especially, like I said, when you come up to tougher enemies, or maybe you walk into a situation where you get a group of enemies that can be a little bit hard to take down based on their speed or their abilities. Having that. The rest of it, I think, if you're smart about it, you can stealth pretty easily without having to pick this up. But if this is the way that you want to play this game, and there's a ton of bonuses for being really good with stealth, definitely recommend going the stealth side, and then sneak attack. Obviously, the additional capability to do extra damage will benefit you in the long run. So that's kind of how I've set this up for myself. Like I said, hacking, leverage, repair, and then suit modification being some of the biggest things that I would definitely recommend prioritizing up front. Like I said, I haven't delved any into this because I'm trying to do, there is an achievement tied to just doing human powers. And additionally, you find the Typhon powers, depending on how fast you move through the game and how thorough you are, these come kind of later on. There's a lot with the psychoscope. You got to be able to scan enemies and certain things like that that unlock a lot of this stuff. So like I said, I'm focusing on the human thing, human abilities. I think you can do the same and have a lot of great success. So going back really quick, like I said, this is the full inventory screen, and that's where the suit modification comes in really handy. Like I said, you get the capability to hold a lot of your weapons. There's a good variety of different weapons. There are special versions of certain weapons. Like I have the pre-order shotgun. I just found this golden pistol that does some advanced damage, unmodified, so that's nice. You'll find your disruptor gun. You need the capability to hold a lot of stuff simultaneously, and for me, even having like weapon upgrade kits, sometimes hanging on to those was important. So definitely recommend suit modification. Max that out if you can. Capability to hold all this stuff. I've just gone to the recycler. Like I was talking about earlier, you can see I have 100 exotic material, which is a ton, and that was purely, again, in result of being able to have this skill right here, and having it very, very early in the game. So big recommendation for that. Just talking real quick again, as you can see, with suit modification, I have the capability to put all of these suit chips in, which is just hugely helpful. So immune to recycling charges, less damage from EMP, less damage from electrical attacks, less damage from laser attacks. You're going to have the propulsion system, grants additional protection against physical damage. Capability, as you find these things, to just grab them and install them immediately. Again, just goes to show how important I think personally suit modification is. And then again, you have your psychoscope. I've got it upgrade once. And again, just some nice abilities: decreasing time for scans, additional damage or chance rate for getting a critical with the shotgun, which is probably one of my most used weapons. And you can see just a ton of them. You can detect mimics, which is hugely important, especially if you are on the side of sneaking. This will really help you get those sneak attacks. And then just increase weapon damage to marked enemies. All stuff hugely helpful. So that was kind of talking through the skill trees again. Like I said, pretty far into the game. I do want to go to the Fabricator really quick, just to kind of give you guys, if you're a little bit newer into the game, an idea of the things that you can actually fabricate later on in the game. So obviously you're going to be able to find plans to basically make all of your different ammo, glue canisters, shotgun shells, 9mm. You'll be able to make your med kits, which is hugely important. You can actually make your own weapon upgrade kits, which is really nice. So don't feel like you need to kind of hoard those. I do sometimes hang on to them just to do some upgrades over the course of time, but especially early in the game, pistol, your shotgun, start to upgrade that stuff. As soon as you get them, get that damage up, it will definitely save you 1 ammo, but also probably 2 some health later on in the game. So definitely recommend doing that. A lot of times you're going to be able to actually fabricate your own weapons. I've kept the same ones because once you start to upgrade them, for me, it doesn't really make any sense to get rid of them. But you can make suit repair kits, so use those. You're going to have to make your propulsion system there. Like I said, you'll be able to make a lot of your weapons throughout. But the biggest surprise for me was the fact that you can make neuromods. As you can see right here, I've got them up. You can only make so many, at least initially. I'm actually working through a side quest right now to be able to get back the unlimited license, but you can make a ton of these. They are expensive, as you can see, 3 exotic material and quite a bit of the rest of it minus the organic material. But just having the capability to make these is awesome. So you can use your neuromods, use them smartly at the beginning, but don't be afraid to. Definitely don't need to hoard them by any means. Like I said, if you kind of follow the same skill track that I did, I think you'll have a lot of success, especially later on in the game. And again, you'll be able to make your EMP charges, all of your different weapons, anti-rad, and even your psi-hypos. So all good stuff. And that's just been what's been successful for me. Like I said, playstyle, I'm very thorough with the areas. The big thing that's helped me is, one, getting the map. Always trying to find the map areas, and then you can see the map does a great job of kind of letting you know the grayed out areas on the screen that are not fully blue. Those are areas that you really haven't actually physically explored yet, and I try to do a good job as I play through of just kind of hitting all the areas, getting to the secret areas, especially where I am now within the Arbitorium. There's a ton, especially in this middle center of the map, that you really don't think you can get to, but you can, and there's some pretty good hidden stuff up and around there. So like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully those were helpful. If you're just starting the game out, let me know if you're struggling with anything, and like I said, hopefully you found those tips helpful. They've definitely helped me. I'm having a ton of fun with this game. Great survival horror game, single player, good combat. So if you haven't, check it out. We've got some video up on the channel where I kind of go through the first hour, so you can download the demo for that, as well as me kind of jumping into the game initially and playing the first about hour and a half of the game. And we'll probably look to do some more streams of this later on, especially as we kind of work through it. So again, I've been Doc with Average Gamer, guys. Thank you so much for checking this video out. Hopefully it was super helpful for you. And like I said, if you're new to the channel, make sure subscribe down below, hit that thumbs up, comment if you are playing it, what you do and don't like about it, and if this guide was helpful for you, let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll check you in the next video.